Guess what? Sunday Sanctuary is produced by a non-profit, which makes perfect sense, right? And it's also quite fun because you never know where the money's going to come from. So this is your invitation to join that fun by supporting this kaupapa and helping to share something you love with even more people looking for soul-nourishing spiritual conversations. It's simple. You can choose between a one-off donation or become a regular supporter and help Sam and I keep making Sunday Sanctuary. To give now, head to our website, sundaysanctuary.nz. Kia ora, and thank you.
Baby, I can find my treasure. There's too much for me to do. Baby, I can find my treasure. Maybe my treasure rests in you.
Sunday Sanctuary with Petra Bagust.
E ngā manu, e ngā reo, mai e ngā hau e whā. Ta tū mai nei ki te manga o tēnei rākau whakaruru hau. Tau mai nei ki tēnei kaupapa, e pāpaho atu nei ki a koutua rā ko Sunday Sanctuary. Ko Petra Bagust tēnei, e rere ana, ngā mihi ki a koutou katoa. To everyone from each corner of this country, come and rest on the branch of this sheltered tree. You are welcome to this project, this space, Sunday Sanctuary. I'm Petra Bagust, and I acknowledge you all. Welcome to this episode, Waiting Advent Part 1. And Advent is a season of waiting. My personal relationship with waiting is I was utterly useless at it. For me, there was nothing good about waiting. And as I have matured, I have started to experience the profound mystery, which I would almost call goodness of waiting, where there is a pause, where I can sit with the discomfort or the boredom or the quiet or just the tension of the waiting, and somehow good things arise out of it. So I'm really interested to explore this space and state of waiting. So later in this episode, we're going to talk to Reverend Mathew Newton about what Advent is and what the waiting of Advent is like. But of course, not all waiting is this, joyous discovery or this wrestling with a personal issue. Some waiting is profoundly hard. You might even say grueling. And we can be waiting for something good, and it can still be a very difficult wait. So we're going to explore that with a couple who were waiting for something good, but it was also complex and hard. So here's producer Mick Andrews.
When Petra and I were talking about waiting, and when waiting gets really difficult, I immediately thought of my good friends Tom and Carly, who spent most of 2021 with a really grueling wait on their hands. And they were generous enough to have me round to their house, sit down on their couch, and talk me through that experience. So here's Tom.
2021, I found myself waiting for my darling little son to have a heart transplant, which sounds quite dramatic when you say those words out loud.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming. Theo was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy just after he turned 2. And it was all very quick. He went downhill very quickly. And then he was straight into Starship, ICU, very, very sick. And we were always told that a heart transplant would be the worst case scenario. And that if he needed a heart transplant, then he would need to go to Melbourne because we don't do them in children under 4, and he was only 2. So after probably 2 months, we basically got told that, it was worst case scenario.
There was no way out.
There was no other option. So, and it was all very quick. We got told that, yes, he would need a heart transplant and that we were booked on a flight to leave that Sunday. So we had basically 4 or 5 days to just move countries. Yeah.
Kind of weird to think that you had such a small amount of time and you had to hurry to go and wait.
Exactly. So it was this mad rush to get there. And then when we got there, it was like, Yeah, he went on a wait list.
Yeah.
And we didn't know when we would get the call.
It was crazy. It's like, what do we do now? It's like, well, one of you goes home, the other one can stay here in the hospital and just see what happens.
What was that wait like for you guys?
It was heavy. That's the word that I always come back to. I don't know, it was surreal because we weren't working. We didn't really have much to do. We were in the middle of COVID lockdowns as well. So we couldn't even enjoy Melbourne.
No.
I don't know.
I think about my emotions at the time. One of the dominant emotions was fear. Fear that things were going to go downhill because he was stable-ish, but something could go wrong and it could become catastrophic. So you're always on edge. You just want to escape the room in the hospital, but you can't.
The first 4 months we were there, he was in hospital 24/7. So me and Tom would tag team at the hospital because we always wanted one of us to be with him. But we also had a 4-year-old, Jack, so we'd kind of swap.
What's your relationship with hope like in those moments?
It's a hard question. I mean, you're obviously holding on to it with everything that you can. But, yeah, I don't know.
I had a belief that it was possible and it could be extremely successful. And I had a lot of confidence in the doctors and nurses there. And I guess I had faith in it too. So I'm not very eloquent, sorry.
It's fine.
I struggle to put together.
It's hard to put words to. But in saying that, I did write something. So when we were there, something that actually helped me a lot was I wrote a lot. I journaled a lot. We also had like an online group, closed group, where I would share some of my reflections. And I wrote about the wait. And so I'm just going to read that out just because this was what I was feeling at that time. So this was on the 29th of November 2021. It was about 6 months in. So this is what I wrote. This wait is heavy. Theo has officially been waiting for a new heart for more than 6 months now, the average wait. It's hard to believe it's already been that long. It could happen today, but it could also be many more months from now. We just don't know. Some children have waited almost 2 years and others have waited only a few weeks. We are always slightly on edge, our bodies buzzing with adrenaline, just in case today is the day. Because when the call comes through, it will be a matter of hours. The adrenaline pumps a little louder as the inevitable creeps closer. But we also have fleeting moments of forgetting the reason why we are here, and then it all comes crashing back. It's a strange feeling, desperately wanting something to happen that also fills you with immense dread. And then there's the tragic reality of this wait that is so hard to put into words. Life and hope and unimaginable pain colliding. So yes, this wait is heavy, but hopeful and oh so complicated. When the heaviness overwhelms, all we can do is trust this journey we are on and the one who is bigger than it all. Our prayer is that Theo will have a new heart for Christmas. So it was a very complicated wait because for us it was the reality that what we were hoping for, a new heart for Theo, would actually mean someone else losing their life. So what was going to be a very hopeful, exciting day for us was probably the worst day of someone else's life. And that's what made this wait so, so hard. Yeah. And that's why it's hard to put into words. Yeah.
I do remember there was a very close-knit community of children on this ward, and they were pretty much all waiting for a transplant. So, give me a second for a second. I just,
yeah.
But when we found out that one of the kids had gone in for a transplant that night before, it was a huge boost, and it helped with our weight.
Mm.
Do you remember that, Carly? It was all very secretive too on the ward. No one knew what was going on. But then a rumour would spread that so-and-so had the operation the night before. And it gave everyone a real boost of excitement and hope that things would happen for our child and some of the other kids that we knew who so desperately needed transplants.
I remember, particularly with you, Tom, talking regularly and using whatever app that was cool at the time.
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo, that's right. To swap video messages with you. When you think back to the daily experience of that weight, on a daily basis, how did you manage that weight?
Yeah, exercise helped.
Yeah. And little daily rituals, like I remember we had a really good cafe up the road, and luckily the Melbourne lockdown, they didn't shut down the cafe, so we could still get a takeaway coffee.
Had to be magic.
And me and Tom would take turns going for a walk to get a coffee and then bringing back a coffee for the other person. And so that was like just a nice little morning routine. I remember just like the highlight of the day was drinking my coffee and doing Wordle, because Wordle had just come out and it was I just loved it.
We all
the entire family was doing it.
The entire family was doing
Competing.
Wordle.
Yeah.
And then for me it was writing, staying connected with friends. And we met some incredible people over there who kind of came around us and really supported us. And then my parents were there as well, which was amazing. They were a huge support. So it was just kind of drawing on those different people and relationships.
Yeah, and then we met a guy called Tim, who was a pastor at Hillsong, Melbourne. Really, really amazing guy.
Yeah, so Tim, he just kind of turned up. He just spent some time... we did communion in the hospital room. He brought everything. It was like, sounds kind of crazy, but it was quite special. And he came with all these gifts for Theo as well. But he just turned up. But it wasn't just, it could have just been a one-off thing, but it actually wasn't. He stayed in touch with us very regularly. He had his own family, his own things going on, but he was in touch with us very regularly. He'd come and have coffee with us. And then there were different practical things we needed, like we needed a pram for Theo, and he just sorted it out for us. Just turned up with a pram one day from someone from his church, and would turn up with meals. And then on the day of Theo's transplant, we let him know. We were like, we got the call, Theo's going in for surgery, and he just turns up and just sits with us for the day, is just there. So he was just just a rock, really, and we stayed in touch with him. That was amazing.
What got you through?
We had no choice. We loved Theo, and we had to just be there and wait and trust the doctors that they knew what they were doing. And
so in some ways it was your love for Theo that got you through.
Yeah, we had no other choice. Like it was like one day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time. That's what it was just like. We just need to keep one foot in front of the other. This is for Theo. It's like our whole life was on hold, but we were just hoping and praying. Yeah, there was a lot of prayer around, okay, we'll pray that this happens by Christmas, and then Christmas kind of went, and then it was like, okay, we'll pray that this happens by the end of the year, and it was like we had a week for it to happen. It had been 8 months at that point, or longer than 8 months, and I was just at felt like I was almost at breaking point. I was just, this is getting really tough. Yeah, and then New Year's Eve we got the call, and I still feel like it's quite crazy timing.
I remember it very clearly at about 3 a.m. I was fast asleep, sleeping in Theo's room, because at that point Theo had actually come out of the hospital and was living with us again. And Carly's kind of shaking my shoulder, and I look around and the phone has lit up her face because she's holding the phone to one ear. She's going, transplant. And I kind of got shaken out of slumber. I went, oh my gosh. And I had just a moment just to collect myself going, okay, it's going to happen. And I kind of got up. And then we just sat on this couch by the stairs going, right, what do we do? And we got told the time we had to be there by, and then we just kind of followed our feet. It was quite surreal for me. It just happens, and you follow the process. It wasn't terrifying. I think I always believed it was possible, and it was going to be okay.
And it was about an 8 or 9 hour surgery. So we got the call at about that afternoon.
That's the big wait too.
That was a crazy wait, and it was because he's in surgery. I just remember my mind was just spinning, and I kind of felt like I was floating almost above my body. It was this weird, very strange feeling, and we were just trying to stay busy. I remember me and Jack, we decorated a gingerbread house just to keep busy.
I ate it.
Yeah. And so we decorated a gingerbread house and then ate it. Probably did a lot of walking as well. I just remember we were sitting around in the lounge because we knew it would be about that time, and we were just like, oh, when are they going to call? Is no news good news, or what does that mean? And then, they rang, and it was just, and I remember Anne, the nurse, the head nurse, was like, the heart's pumping. The new heart's pumping, and it was just like the relief was just huge. But I still felt like I was floating. It was just hadn't quite hit. Yeah.
This will be a gear change, and it will be my last question. What advice would you give someone else in the middle of a painful season of waiting?
I'll cry again.
I think I surprised myself. Like if someone had told me what we were going to go through, I would have been like, there's no way. How would I get through that? That's like a nightmare situation, But we did get through it, and I think we're more resilient than we realise. So that's probably what I'd say to someone, and also to stay connected to your community. I think it's tempting when you're going through something hard to kind of shut down and not talk to people about it because you're like, oh, they don't understand. And a lot of people probably don't understand because it's such a unique, well, for us it was such a unique situation. But people genuinely want to be there, and you just need to lean into that. And I think we did, and I think that really helped us.
I'll tell you another story. We were walking around the circle with Theo, and Theo had a nasal tube in his nose, so it was quite clear that he was sick. And Carl and I were walking along, and a Chinese woman kind of turned around and stopped at us and said, "Have faith." We didn't know her, but we kind of stopped in our tracks going, what on earth? But I think to advise other people, if you're of the spiritual kind and you're waiting through a hard time, you just got to have faith and lean on that rock, because you can get through this. It is possible.
So appreciate Tom and Carly giving us an insight into their experience of a particularly dramatic and life-giving wait, and actually not glossing over the reality of that. Feel free to share this episode with a friend who you think might appreciate it. And look, if you leave us a review on your podcast player of choice, that helps other people find us. Sunday Sanctuary NZ is our name on Instagram. You can find us there and also join the online conversation.
Sunday Sanctuary with Petra Bagust.
It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
That was a little taste of Sam Cooke's A Change Is Gonna Come. Feel free to read the lyrics, they're really quite fabulous. Right now, we've got Reverend Frank Ritchie with his riff on communion during Advent.
Now, as has become the custom for this podcast, we're going to reflect on the ancient practice of Holy Communion, a ritual instituted by Jesus the night before he died. The sacrament of Holy Communion has three things within it related to time. Firstly, it draws us into a looking back, remembering a moment in history with the Last Supper of Christ, his crucifixion, and his resurrection. With this in mind, it then holds the reality of those events in the present, as they are re-embodied in the rituals we undertake and in the elements of bread and wine. Thirdly, it draws us towards hope that has the future in mind. That hope holds on to promises given in the Christian scriptures and traditions. It is a hope in the return of Christ, as foreign and strange as that idea might seem to many. It's a hope that one day all things will be made right, that suffering will have an end, that God's vision for his flourishing creation will be fully realized. That hope carries a discontent, because as we look at our lives and the world around us, we see that whilst truth, beauty and goodness are always present, the good and the bad exist alongside each other. What we envisage and what we hope for is not a complete reality yet. So we wait. Waiting of any sort is not easy, and our culture teaches us to rush and to get. Waiting is counterintuitive to the cultural sea that we swim in, where every desire is to be gratified straight away. But the waiting of faith is a waiting that gifts us with growth. In this waiting, we must necessarily trust in something beyond ourselves. It has both passive and active elements. It is passive in that we realize there is much that is not in our control, and so we trust the Creator to realize that future hope. But it is active in that we know we can participate in giving glimpses of that future hope now in the world around us by how we act and how we behave and how we treat others. This waiting gives perspective, and it shapes in us some of the fruits of the Spirit, namely patience, self-control, and ultimately, peace.
And now we have a sacred text from a 19th century French Jesuit Catholic priest who was also a scientist, paleontologist, philosopher, mystic, and teacher. His name is Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, and the prayer is called Patient Trust. Above all, trust in the slow work of God. We are quite naturally impatient in everything. To reach the end without delay, we should like to skip the immediate stages. We are impatient of being on the way to something unknown, something new. And yet it is the law of all progress that it is made by passing through some stages of instability, and that it may take a very long time. And so I think it is with you. Your ideas mature gradually. Let them grow. Let them shape themselves without undue haste. Don't try to force them on as though you could be today what time, that is to say grace and circumstances acting on your own goodwill, will make of you tomorrow. Only God could say what this new spirit gradually forming within you will be. Give our Lord the benefit of believing that his hand is leading you, and accept the anxiety of feeling yourself in suspense and incomplete.
Sunday Sanctuary with Petra Bagust.
Feel free to skip back and re-listen to that prayer poem or not, but it is laying the foundations. This idea of suspense and incomplete is so familiar to us, right? And what I'd love to do now is light a candle, Advent being a time when Advent candles are lit, and create a little space for us to ponder. So join me in the theatre of your mind, or in reality if you have a candle at hand. Take the lid off mine. Just as I hold the flame to the wick and I light it, and it catches and the light flickers. Are you able to identify a place or space in your own life where you are waiting? What does that waiting feel like if you were to find it in your body? And finally, what's something that you know in your gut or spirit about this current wait?
Got some time to search my soul. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know that my faith will lead me on. I don't know where life will lead me, but I know where I've been. I can't say what life will show me, but I know what I've seen. Tried my hand at love and friendship, but all that is past and gone. This little boy is moving on, sitting here in limbo, waiting for the tide to flow. Sitting here in limbo, knowing that I have to go. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know that my faith will lead me on. I can't say what life will show me, but I know what I've seen. I can't say where life will lead me, but I know where I've been. Tried my hand at love and friendship, but all that is past and gone. This little boy is moving on. Sitting here in limbo, waiting for the tide to flow. Sitting here in limbo, knowing that I have to go. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know that my faith will lead me on. Sitting in limbo, 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 sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, 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 sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo. Don't know if it's got to be so. Don't know if it's got to be so. I'm sitting in a limbo. I'm sitting here in limbo. But I know we won't belong now. I know we won't belong. Hey, yeah.
that was Jimmy Cliff and Sitting in Limbo, our waiata for this episode. Next up is Reverend Mathew Newton, who looks after St Augustine's in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. And I thought, who better to talk about Advent with? Tēnā koe, Reverend Matt Newton, who we shall refer to henceforth as Newt.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously after your surname, right?
Yeah.
But is the animal involved at all?
Not really, no. It comes from, it was printed on the back of my softball jersey when I was a young kid, basically playing softball.
It's catchy.
It is catchy. Very good. Well done. Well done.
But have you ever met another Newt?
I actually haven't. I mean, it's a pretty weird name, so yeah, I can see why it's not super popular, but it's kind of stuck, so I'm happy with that.
Nice. Newt, I'm interested in exploring Advent in so much as I have had Advent calendars.
Oh, yeah.
I have opened them and eaten the chocolates.
Great.
But it didn't originate for chocolates.
No, it didn't originate for chocolates, but I mean, I love the chocolates.
Very good.
Yeah. No, it didn't originate for chocolates, but I think it's kind of one of these seasons in the church calendar where you kind of prepare, so you don't just hit Christmas and you kind of just washes over you, and you kind of get all confused about what is this all about. And actually, from the church tradition, it's actually not just about Christmas. It's actually about when God puts all things right at the completion of things.
So that is a massive kaupapa. That is like
I know.
when the world becomes right, when there's no suffering and no death and no disease and there's no injustice and no conflict anymore. That is a big concept.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing a lot of us think of Christmas as the birth of Christ. It's like a baby's birth, Jesus in the manger.
Yeah.
And so even this idea, like you think the advent of the wheel, like the advent is something, it's like is the original term aligned to that? Is it like the in preparation for something, or is it the arrival of something, or is it the waiting for something?
Yeah. It's actually the arrival of something.
Okay.
So it comes from the word adventus. That's the Latin word. And if you think about this, kind of have gladiator in your mind.
I do.
Yeah, great. You've got a town, and they're informed that the emperor is about to come. And so that's announced, and then they get the town ready, and then they wait for when the emperor arrives, and then they go out and receive the emperor to come into their town. Yeah, so it's a kind of time of preparation and waiting for that person to arrive.
Which is like the perfect metaphor. So this actually happened back in the day.
Yeah,
it would be
absolutely
announced that the emperor was doing a tour.
That's
and
right.
that he was coming to this town and this town and this
100%,
town. And then the whole town would make preparations for the very good and significant arrival of.
Correct, yeah. And there'll be a kind of excitement about that, and be a longing for that, and there'll be a sense of like, this is going to be something really good. And so it was a waiting that was not just killing time, it was a waiting filled with expectation about what this was going to mean. So in the Bible, it talks about this waiting with love, joy, peace, and hope. And that was kind of all wrapped up in the waiting, or the longing for this significant person to arrive.
How long is Advent? I should know this. Is it 4 weeks?
Yep.
So the Advent calendar starts like for us on the 1st of December. Like, is that when people? Is that like about the date?
Yeah.
And the church calendar is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. I feel like in our time, it's easy to crash into Christmas. Like even this idea of preparing, you are thinking the shop's going to be shut and I need to have enough food and all the business is going to be shut.
Yeah.
But so we are definitely preparing. I need to buy all these gifts.
Yeah.
I'm gathering people or not.
Yeah.
I'm going places.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like outside of purchasing and cooking and shopping and like what is Advent inviting us into?
I think it's inviting us into kind of being alert or being aware of what's going on in the world, because we've got all this activity happening to us. Kind of the horizon lines of what we're sensitive to can just get really narrowed down to am I getting the ham, or am I getting the getting the escape, all the kinds of things, and which is that's fine, but then we kind of like the alertness of Advent is about going like, hey, but what else is going on in the world? Are things being put right? Where is justice happening, and where does it need to happen? Because of Christmas is actually the joining together of God and creation through the person of Jesus, right? So now creation's history is welded to God's history. And so one day everything will be put right. There can be a sense in which we can be a bit more alert to, hey, where do things need to be put right? And in fact, where are things just beautiful and amazing as well? So that can be a much broader kind of thing than the kind of like the shopping and getting the stuff done.
Yeah.
Kind of just gets us a bit narrow.
Yeah. When I hear you say where in the world do things need to be put right,
Yeah.
I think you can think about that on a familial level, on a community level, on a country level, on a global level.
100%. That's so tricky because, in some respects, some families, like, they get together and it's an amazing time and you go like, oh, this is like a small glimpse of kind of God's intention for the human family.
Yeah.
But often, families are not like that as well. And then it's like, oh, gosh, and it's a real sense of loss because of that. But I think both the sense of celebration, when it is right, can point forward and go like, hey, this is a small taste in the present of what is, promise to come. But I think as well that yearning or that nearly that sense of loss because of it also points forward too, because you're going like, this is not right, but it needs to be put right, and one day it will be put right. So I think, the gathering of family and the feasting and, all the good times and the presents as well. I mean, that's a great time. It can point forward as well. But, I think, connecting on a real visceral level, I think what you're trying to recognise in other people's lives is the glory and the goodness of another human being. And gosh, what an amazing creature that person is. And there's something in the beauty, if you can see that or if that's there, you're going like, oh, that beauty is supposed to be expressed kind of everywhere as well. So because this day can be a source of both good and tension, it's tricky, right? It's tricky to see that.
Yeah. There's two threads I want to take, and one is about this orientation towards what needs to be put right.
Yeah.
Like waiting for this good thing. I love you saying in the person of Jesus, you've got creation and God kind of coming together. Like I love the global and beyond universe sort of vibe of that. That's this is a lovely picture in my mind.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this waiting period, right?
Yeah.
Because this is right. This is coming out right at the beginning of Advent. Like we're 25 days to go, which will either engender panic in people's minds as they hear that, or they'll be like, okay, right, 25 days, let's go. Or anything in between.
Got you.
But this waiting that we're doing for not only a day that's 25 days away, which is Christmas Day, but this waiting for all things to be put right.
Yeah.
But the texture and the nature of the waiting itself can at times be really difficult.
I couldn't agree more. It's so tricky. Waiting is not fun. There's nothing fun about waiting, right?
It's not high on my activities list.
No one jumps out of bed and goes, oh, I just love to wait today. Oh, I wish I was waiting longer, right? No one does that. And often, I think it is difficult because we feel often that the good comes at the whatever's on the other side of waiting. Like we're going to get to the good thing when things are put right, we're going to get to the good thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things about kind of in the Advent tradition is that about being alert. In fact, there's lots of good things happen in waiting, but you have to be alive to them, right? Yeah. So we can kind of like we're kind of got to be open to what goodness is actually happening here, what goodness is around me in the process of waiting.
Because even as you said, nobody wants to wait. Sometimes there's this incredible sense of stillness and spaciousness in the wait. If I can only surrender to it or align myself 100%. To it or just get involved.
Yeah.
And I love taking action and I love enthusiasm. So I'm not saying I'm subbing that stuff out.
Yeah.
But sometimes the waiting has a goodness, like
100%,
doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. There's often a beauty in waiting that you're just not alive to when you're just kind of getting stuff done. I was waiting to jump in the car to come to do this podcast, and I saw this amazing nest that had fallen out of a tree. But if I was kind of like just rushing, like going to get it done, I kind of missed that. I'd miss that. Or there's kind of other goods in waiting. Like there's a great tradition of realizing like, in waiting, I'm training my body to realize that not everything has to be okay for me to flourish. I don't need perfect conditions in order to flourish. I'm waiting for this good to come. But actually good things can come even when the conditions aren't perfect, or when things are going to happen, or I'm going to be safe and fine even when I'm not getting my own way. Waiting kind of enables us to kind of realise that.
I like your idea of the hope of things being put right.
Yeah.
And I like that use of the word alert, being alert to what could be put right.
Yeah.
Like that puts me in the frame of mind of starting to seek what could be put right, or what's within my
that's right.
capacity to take action on.
I agree. There's this kind of great letter that kind of Martin Luther King was writing, when he was in prison, basically, and saying like, hey, the waiting is actually, it's really difficult. And it's actually, sometimes waiting feels like never, or waiting can be a substitute for never. So I'm saying like waiting is important and it can make us alert. There can sometimes be a negative side to too much waiting, which is actually, it means never, and we never take action. So I think kind of there's, not all waiting is good waiting, but certainly when it comes to Advent, kind of the idea is it's waiting for God's justice to be revealed and God's justice to take place in the putting of things right. And so that can mean sometimes we're just alerting ourselves to what's good in the world, what is broken in the world. And sometimes that action is action of us really doing something. And sometimes that's the action of prayer, that's the action of kindness. And I'm thinking at the moment of the waiting that's going on as kind of aid trucks need to get through to Gaza. That's not great waiting, right? That waiting needs to stop. But there is a kind of waiting that is really centering and really good and kind of draws us back to the reality that as human beings, we are held in God's goodness. That's where our life is drawn from. But often we're frantic and we miss that reality, and so we're not alert to it.
Is there an example that you've got of when you were waiting in the past in another Advent, or something that you're focused on in this Advent? She's just throwing you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit, I suppose, personal. When you're waiting for kids to be born, it's both exciting and worrying all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But good things are happening, and there's a thing in which you are in control of some things and not others. And that's just some of the reality of human existence. And so that was one of our kids then. That was a real time of waiting over that. I think for myself, I seem to be in teenage years, my kids are teenagers, man, I feel like I spend most of my time driving at the moment.
Yeah.
And I literally can't wait for that season to finish. But man, I'm going to kind of miss it as well. I'm going to miss the conversations and the chat and the keeping up with the music. And, you don't want that to end.
Yeah, can I just say you will miss those times so much, like when they just drive away for the first time and they don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've got all this time.
Yeah.
And it's a freaky thing. Yeah. I miss driving my kids around.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah. I think I'm going to feel the same.
Yeah. In terms of, we don't often give advice, but like what I've heard us say is that there's both healthy and less healthy waiting. There's waiting that needs to stop and waiting that can be engaged in.
Yeah.
That the invitation is to be really alert to what is good in the world and to the good that is yet to come.
Yeah, that's right.
So to not pretend things aren't hard or broken.
Yeah.
And then potentially to engage, or even just our orientation towards that can make a difference to how we approach situations.
Yeah.
Is there something, when the waiting is hard, when the waiting involves suffering and difficulty, is there something that you've got for people?
Oh, man. I can probably only say personally what I do. Yeah. So I often find myself in those really tricky times. I mean, I'll turn to like a psalm, something like Psalm 23, that, the Lord is my shepherd. I will just have that on repeat, just have that going on in my head. And I'm kind of recognizing in that psalm, or there's a sense in which God often doesn't answer the questions of why, but it answers the questions of who, or where. God is with us in these difficult times. It's not an absence of God's presence, but there's a strange way in which God is actually still with us. And there's, often very gentle ways and in quiet ways. And then it's about recognizing, because of that, one day things will be put right, even in the midst of these difficulties. But I think when I'm waiting in those moments, or when those moments are arriving, kind of because of that, there can be a kind of a certain kind of action can be taken as well. You don't have to just sit in there, because there's a sense of which God is with us both in the good times and in the dark valleys as well. There can be a sense in which when right action needs to be taken, you can actually do that, because you're not just doing it by yourself or doing it on.
My favourite thing about the hard times is that I lean more on God. Like, it's such a relief. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
I know. It's a painful lesson, right?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But I kind of like being drawn back to, it's not all up to me.
I know. And it's funny because there can be an odd freedom that comes on the other side of those difficult times, recognising that in the main we're actually held by God and this world is held by God. But often when we're super busy or just rushing through life, or we bump into the reality of life and we get bruised and get hurt, whatever, we're often not recognising that or alive to that. So I like more the other side as well.
It turns out you're a very human.
Yeah, that's right.
Cheers, Newt. Thanks for chatting.
It's lovely being here. Thank you.
Something I love about Sunday Sanctuary is that we'll start an episode with ideas in mind, and it's through curious conversations with people from different walks of life that something will show up. And for me, in that kōrero, what showed up was the idea of being alert to not only what is good now, but what one day hopefully will become good. Like, the brokenness isn't excluded, and yet it's not the end. It's not the whole story. So I love this essence of, alertness. I like that. Look out for, seek, pay attention to where the beauty and goodness is and where there could be more of it. So I hope that this episode has been encouraging for you, and we're going to leave you with a benediction by Jan Richardson from the book Circle of Grace, a book of blessings for the seasons. And it's called Blessing for Waiting. Who wait for the night to end, bless them. Who wait for the night to begin, bless them. Who wait in the hospital room, who wait in the cell, who wait in prayer, bless them. Who wait for news, who wait for the phone call, who wait for a word, who wait for a job, a house, a child, bless them. Who wait for one who will come home, who wait for one who will not come home, bless them. Who wait with fear, who wait with joy, who wait with peace, who wait with rage, who wait for the end, who wait for the beginning, who wait alone, who wait together, bless them. Who wait without knowing what they wait for or why, bless them. Who wait when they should not wait, who wait when they should be in motion, who wait when they need to rise, who wait when they need to set out, bless them. Who wait for the end of waiting, who wait for the fullness of time, who wait emptied and open and ready, who wait for you. Oh, bless.